Mr. Bill Kinison, we're a minute late today, but that's okay.
That's all right. That's all right. It'd be worth the wait if I last this long. Welcome to the Gospel According to Kinison, and I am your man. I am the illustrious host, Bill Kinison.
Good morning. The Kaufmans were first one watching.
Oh, they've probably been on there since 4 o'clock this morning.
Jeff Syke. Good morning, Jeff.
Boy, Jeff has jumped right in here.
Misty Soper.
Misty, I love her.
Sir. I know it.
I want her to listen to my message today. I'm not just speaking to me, I speak to everybody.
Jerry Nicholson. Hello, Bill and
The
Sherry.
Nicholson
Love you
family,
both.
I love them.
Yes.
And his daughter is away in college, I think. Maybe she'll be coming home for spring break. And if I can't remember the college, he'll probably put it up there. She's actually a very prestigious school.
Yes. Good morning, Derek Kustra.
Derek, good to have you on, brother.
Misty says, good morning, family. Yes.
Yes.
We're
Yes,
all
we are.
family.
That's right.
We are family. Jack Friedman. Yes, Jack, we're going to like the YouTube. We're going to go to it. And at the Gospel According to Kinison. What are you doing?
I'm making notes. You just
Okay.
go right ahead.
And she goes to Cornell, and she is home now. Yes.
Cornell, that's, are we going to have to deprogram her from what they teach up there?
I don't know. Good morning, Joe Sumter.
And Joe, love the Joe. Love the Joe. I'd love to see Joe. Love the Joe.
Good morning, Sharon and Stan Stein.
Sharon, I'm surprised she's on this morning. I figured her and Stan would be partying last night.
They might have been. You don't know. They might not have been.
Oh,
to bed yet.
I'm sure they were having fun.
Robert Yeary, good morning.
Yep. We'll be talking about Robert and Caitlin here in just a little bit.
Jerry Nicholson said, yes, definitely, LOL.
Oh, I love our people, Sherry.
Robert Yeary said, prayers needed here, brother. God bless you all. Your name is already written
I
down.
already felt that this morning.
Yes. All right.
All right.
And Sharon Stein said she loves the white jacket.
Well,
Good morning, Caitlin. Katie did. I love that name.
I never wear this jacket much because it's always been just a little snug.
And now it fits you.
Yeah, but
It's
I don't
a
know if I
little
should.
loose.
No, I don't know if I should tell them how
No.
the weight was lost. They're probably going to find out in our program. Oh,
Sharon Stein said, wow.
wow.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I don't advise losing it the way I have. This week I've been battling. They said because between there's a name for it, but it was so I've never heard of it. So bizarre. But they told me it was between pneumonia and
Bronchitis.
bronchitis. And I got to tell you, it's not much fun. But I don't give up on my affirmations. That's for sure.
Good morning, Danny James.
Danny James. Love Danny. Love Danny. He's up there in our old stomping grounds.
I'm glad I don't live up there anymore.
Boy, I am too, to be honest with you. There are a few people I want to mention. Al Brown. And I don't know if I think it's a really close friend, but it might be an uncle. Bingo passed. And we need to hold Al up in prayer, him and his family. I guess I just want to pray for Misty. I got her name down, but I didn't put down. Oh, no, her dog.
Her pet.
Yeah. Praying for. I knew there was some reason, and we want to remember her in prayer. Scott Ross. I don't think it's his brother, but I think he's probably close enough to be his brother, only because of the way that he referred to him as his bro. And we want to remember him in prayer. His name is Peter. We want to remember him in prayer. Anthony Lutz saw where he went to the hospital. I hope it's just, a checkup. But let's pray for Anthony anyhow. He's trying to get to where he can have his knees replaced. And if you don't know who Anthony was, he's actually in the Wrestling Hall of Fame, and as Mad Dog. And yet when I talk to him and see him, the name don't fit the person, because he's really a nice, gentle person and loves his grandchildren. Then we got Sharon Stein, and again, I want to remind all of you in California that she is running for office. Sherry, actually, in our old district.
Oh, he's okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you got to remember, we used to live, a block away from Sharon and Stan?
Yeah, down in...
And, but I'm going to tell you, y'all need to get behind her. She's for change. Forget about the Republican stuff. Sharon Stein wants change. And so please remember her in prayer. Also, I think she posted last week. She can post it again this week if she would like, for you that want to be involved in her campaign. And so, and it's in our prayers. We also want to continue praying for Mike and Kimberly. And Sherry, I saw something. He did a video. I saw something I don't think I've seen before. And they were coming in. Aunt Dee had transitioned to the next life, and Kimberly was working with the coroner's office, getting her ready to be transported. Now, I have never seen a family member do that.
Usually they won't let you.
Well, I don't know. I've never ever tried it. And usually, whenever they do that, I ask the family to leave, because you don't want to see, what goes on there when it's your loved one. And anyway, we want to keep them in prayer. Robert and Caitlin, Robert Yerry and Caitlin, we want to remember you guys in prayer. Robert's fighting. He's fighting some battles. I don't understand people that want to attack somebody when they feel they're down.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
Kindness, I'm telling you. Wear a shirt every day. Be kind.
Yep. And then they flip us off. But that's got to be those illegals. Anyhow, I want to remember Caitlin, her daughter, Carrie's daughter. One thing I tell folks when they're, they do the funeral and everything, and then I try to tell them, this is the last step, but your battle of missing them is just going to begin, and it does. That doesn't mean that you're not happy for them, but you miss them. You spent your whole life with these individuals, and they're more than a person to you. And so we also want to remember Jack, our videographer, and lost his. They talk about the young lady, and this, please remember her family in prayer, the nursing student that was
illegal. Killed by an illegal.
Folks, you have no idea. But yes, the alleged killer, and I don't know what all he did to her, because he's got charged with, a lot of things. They're so willing to go after Donald Trump on most of it should be misdemeanors. Our president should be responsible for that girl's death. He should be responsible for the fentanyl that killed Jack's granddaughter. I'm sorry, folks. I'm in the mood today to tell it just like it is.
And Anthony Lutz says, can you please say a prayer for his wife, Carrie?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I love Carrie. I met them when she was diagnosed with breast cancer. And we prayed a lot, Sherry, and I think you talked to her. I talked to her. And so let's remember her in prayer. I love Carrie. And I love Anthony. I love both of them. All right. Where do we start?
Good morning, Forrest Nolan. How is good old Rockford doing?
Now, you better watch out, because Forrest will be praying for you.
And then There's a few names, if they go too fast, I can't read them.
Well, that's all right. But if you see a comment come up and you want to,
Boris said they're doing great. Derek Kustra said there's nothing wrong with that. Say your truth.
tell them not to do that kind of stuff. Oh boy, sure this is going to be rough on them. Going to be rough on me, but a lot rougher on them trying to listen to me. All right.
So get going.
I can't believe that. Oh yeah, I can. I want to start off this morning, and name of our little lesson today is "Win the Game." Play to win. Play to win. I was reading the Bible this past week, and I came across a passage that I've read many times, and it's in Matthew 13 and 54. And if you'd be so kind, I'd like to read this to you. I think it just all of a sudden hit me like a ton of bricks. And when he was come into his own country, he taught them in their synagogue. Now, to give you a little background here, Jesus has been rocking and rolling. He's been healing people. He's been feeding them. He has been raising the dead. He's been out rock and rolling. And he would have thousands that would show up. Most of them looking to see a miracle or hoping they would get a miracle. They really weren't disciples. He had 12 of those. And so when it says when he was come into his own country, in other words, he went back home to Nazareth. And he taught them in their synagogue, insomuch that they were astonished. So Sherry goes back home, and he starts talking and teaching them to it. Now, before you get this picture, I got to kind of explain a little bit. Before you get this picture of this beautiful church or temple and Jesus walking in, and all of a sudden, he's the man. Well, actually, they had, just in Jerusalem, they had over 400 temples. They could be in your house. And obviously, they didn't have the rabbis, but everyone, and it was almost mandatory. You went there because that's how you learned to read. That was your arithmetic, everything else. And so when Jesus comes back, obviously, that was the custom, is that the men actually would sit. And then they would, if they felt compelled, they would get up and read a scripture and say whatever. So when he comes into this synagogue or this temple, insomuch that they were astonished and said, now listen, whence hath this man this wisdom and these mighty works? He's home, Sherry. That's like me going back to Peoria, or you going back to Rockford. And all of our family and friends are there. And they come up and they go, where? Sherry, where did you learn to sing like that? It's like the heavens it's like the heavens opened up. Bill, where did you get this wisdom? Well, that's exactly what they were saying about Jesus. But don't quit reading yet, because it's going to get interesting. Whence hath this man this wisdom and these mighty works? Where did that come from? Is not this the carpenter's son? They're probably out there going, this guy built my cabinets. Mm-hmm. This guy built my furniture. He was a carpenter. Now he comes back. He's over 30 years old. Or he's 30 years old. He comes back. And they're going, is this not the carpenter's son? Is not his mother called Mary? And his brethren? A lot of people don't know that Jesus had brothers and sisters. That family, regular family, not just spiritual. And it says, and his brothers, James and Joseph, and Simon, and Judas, and his sisters, are they not all with us? What happened to him? We know his family. I used to date his sister. Well, I don't know if they said that part, but Anyway, what happened? And then here's what really mystified me. And they were offended in him. Sherry, did you hear that? Here 1 minute, they're talking about where to get this wisdom.
Yeah.
How's he able to do these works? And then the next minute, they're going, we're offended.
They're not politically correct.
And you talk about me bringing in politics. So. Anyway, and Jesus said unto them, this is what he told them. A prophet is not without honor, save in his own country. That's the truth. Not only a prophet, when you recognize who you are, and that you are in the image, and people just say that so flippantly. Like they talk about this here flesh. Goes on and he says, a prophet is not without honor, save in his own country and in his own house. Other words, his own family, his brothers, his sisters. He also said, you don't get honor from them. And then here's the kicker of the whole thing, because preachers just gloss over it. And I have to admit, until this week I did too. And it goes on and says, and he did not mighty works there because of their unbelief. That is the only time that you see in the Bible that Jesus, this man that became God, this is the very first time that you see him going, we didn't do mighty works there. Why? Because you don't have honor from your own family and your own friends. And because of that, because of that unbelief, he could not do miracles there. I want to tell you something. I know exactly pretty close what that's like. I went to Bible college, and then after I finished that, I did 4 years of study in 1 year, and they asked me not to come back. And I remember I went back home, and my mother had a church, just a few people. My mother and father had a church. And so since I just got out of Bible college, they thought I should preach, Sherry. Mm-hmm. So my mother asked me to preach, I think it was on Wednesday night. Only time this ever happened. I'm preaching what God, I felt like, put in my heart. I'm 19 years old. I've never had a revival. I've never preached or I've never pastored a church. I've never done any of those things. And I'm up there and I'm trying to preach to these people that know me, that knew me. And my mother knows me. She gave birth to me. Sherry, right in the middle of my message. You know what she did?
She sat you down.
She got up and said, Bill, you preached enough. You need to go sit down. And so I went over and sat down. Only time ever in my entire ministry that a pastor or a preacher or a minister asked me to sit down. And that came from my own mother. Folks, I'm going to tell you something. You only get what you get for yourself. If you're depending on your family and your friends to really go crazy over what you have found in truth, you're going to be shocked, because unless God has opened up their eyes, they're not going to recognize you as that. You know what they're going to look at you as? That's mom. That's brother. That's sister. That's how we are in this family. You used to hear that a lot in our family, Sherry. That's how we are. You only get what you give to yourself. You give to yourself by believing in the best of yourself and of yourself. Forget about. I've told you before, if you got business dreams or you got a career dream, sometimes it's best not to tell your family and friends because they're going to discourage you. It happened to Jesus. It happened to Jesus with his own family at Nazareth, so much that the beloved Son of God could not do mighty works because his family could not get out of their mind. I'm just picking on them right now, but his friends too. You know that he's got friends standing there that they used to play and hang out and do whatever, what young people do. You give to yourself by believing that you deserve the best. Then the best will come to you from within. You should be your biggest fan. I've been in sports most of my life. Oh, I loved them. I loved to play it. I love sports. I became very good as a wrestler. Actually, I was pretty good in all of them, but I was an exceptional wrestler. And I've told this before about how you affirm things. We had a lady that lived down in the basement of our church. We lived upstairs in the church, and her name was Nellie Shields. And she would kind of like be a nanny. When I had a wrestling match, I'd go down there the night before, and I'd sit there and tell Nellie what all I was going to do to the kid I was wrestling. At the start, when I started, I didn't believe it. But the more that I would tell her, the more my confidence got up. And then by the time that I got ready to wrestle this kid, I was so pumped and so confident that I could not have lost. You see, you should be your biggest fan. I know that some people they may sound like that's egotistical because you've been taught that we really don't deserve whatever we get. That's just God being nice to us. No, that's not how it works. Some of you been taught that you should pray like the fellow in the Bible. And he prayed like this: Lord, I'm not even worthy of the least of thy mercies. I want to remind you again, you got to be your biggest fan. You should root for yourself. You should encourage yourself. Don't depend on anyone else. If you believe it, that's all it takes. If you believe it. This is so important because I've seen a lot of people sit around on the sidelines of life, discouraged, disgusted, busted, depressed, oppressed, suppressed, unpressed. I've seen them all. But you have to learn to encourage yourself. Folks, nobody's going to give you pity. If you want to act all pitiful and everything, no one's going to give you pity. And if you're expecting everybody to come and run and help you, it doesn't work that way. I had a young man say to me some time ago, when he was disgusted and busted and all that kind of stuff, and he came to me and he said, you know what? Because I asked him, I think it was in Tulsa, I said, how's it going? And he said, well, Bill, I'm just waiting for somebody to give me a break. I want to tell you what I told him. If you sit on the sidelines of life waiting for somebody to come along and give you a push, more likely you'll be trampled under the feet of those who are marching. Oh boy. Bill, heal thyself. Heal thyself. You see, when you start depending on yourself, something's going to happen. I want you to write this in your heart, or write it down somewhere. Put it on the put it somewhere where you can see it all the time. The first person that you need to impress. Gee, I don't know. Oh God.
Don't yell, just talk.
Yeah, I'll do that, sure. Yeah. I don't know what I would do without her. I saw something on the internet, and this comedian was up talking about how God blessed him
Yes.
with a person that tells him how to drive, because he probably wouldn't stop at that red light, and he wouldn't turn here. And I think I married her sister. But anyhow, the first person you need to impress, that you need to make a favorable impression on, is yourself. You ought to write that down somewhere. Impress yourself. When you make a favorable impression upon yourself, you know what you do? You will project that favorable impression upon everyone you come in contact with. And folks, I want you to know, Sherry and I, we laugh about it. But no matter where we go, people are drawn to us. We can't sit in a restaurant and eat a meal without somebody coming over and wanting to talk to us. We don't walk around.
Sharon Stein said, I'm a treasure.
She is a treasure.
No, me. She said, Sharon.
I don't depend on anybody.
Good morning, Kevin Wick.
No, my wife is a treasure.
Remember we used to always get up first thing in the morning and look in the mirror and say, yes, I can?
God, I forgot about that, Sherry. That had to be when I was 12 years old.
No. We taught our granddaughter, when you get up first thing in the morning.
That's because that's what we taught everybody. Get up and start your day, look in the mirror and go, I feel great, I feel great, I feel great!
Yes.
Anyway, make a good impression on you. I want you to try this technique. You see, the first person you need to impress, and write it down, the first person you need to impress, that you need to make a favorable impression on, is you. I'm going to be right back. Sherry, you come on up and you can teach them. I'll be right back.
Good morning, everyone. Love you. I'm just right here behind the camera. Be your own hero. Yes, Robert Yuri. We are our own hero. And he had to cough, so it's better to cough without being watched.
Oh. I am, Sherry. What happened to the precious, the treasure, that when we were on the road, if my voice was gone, you would get up and preach the service?
Jack Friedman said, get in front of the camera. Jack, I'm happy being right here. And Kevin Wick says, show yourself,
I don't know how
sister.
much time we got.
I don't either. It's 12:30. So
Well, let's give them just a little bit more, and then we'll call it a day. Build a successful self-image in your mind. What you need to do first is to build an image in your mind of the person you want to be and you wish to be. Get that image in your mind. Forget about. I don't care if your mom or your brothers or sisters, and I don't care if they told you all your whole life you're ugly. No, get an image. Get an image of you in your mind, and then constantly throughout the day in your mind, see yourself being who you want to see or be. See yourself doing what you really want to do, and have the good, have the money, have the blessings which you really desire. And keep on encouraging yourself. Say good things to yourself and about yourself. This is what I call self-motivation. You are in the biggest game of all. You are in the game of life. You don't want to tie in this game. You want to win. You don't want to just last in this game. You want to win. And in order to win, you have to motivate yourself. Remember and affirm this to yourself. I am a winner. Sure, that's almost like us. Mm-hmm. I think in the morning I'll get up and go, I am a winner.
I'm a winner.
I am a winner. I'm going to take it easy here. Anyway, folks, I love y'all. Hope you know that. We were, Sherry and I, this country, we was watching the primary last night. And we were really watching it to see what Nikki Haley would say, because everybody in the world except for Nikki Haley knew that she was going to get killed by Trump in her hometown, or her home state, rather, that she was the governor in. And when we was watching it, and in the middle of it, Sherry starts changing channels, and I said, what are you doing? She said, I want to see how CNN is talking about this. So we flipped it over to CNN, and I thought, man, you talk about two ends of the spectrum. Somehow they got this thing where since Trump won so big in South Carolina, he hurt himself. And I got, what are they talking about? So after just a few minutes, I said, you know what? You either got to change it back or I'm going on to bed. I've seen enough. We want to remember everyone in prayer. And I want you to know from Sherry and I's heart, we love you folks. That's the reason I get up and teach this. When I started out in the ministry, I told you that growing up, I didn't like church, and I probably liked God less. And there were definite problems I had with what the Pentecostal church that my father pastored, of their beliefs. And God started showing me this message. And Sherry, you've known me. Actually, you knew me when I started preaching. And she can tell you, I never did compromise. I still preached what I felt to preach. Because I remember I sat down and it was very simple to me. I thought, what do people really want? I grew up in a church where we thought they wanted to be scared to death about hell, that they wanted to go to this physical heaven somewhere and all that stuff. And you know what? You can only scare people for so long until they just won't be afraid anymore. Or do they like to know how to pay their rent? Do they want to know how to feed their children? Do they want to know how to live in the house they want to live in, drive the car they want to drive in? And that's the reason that I felt like God took me down this avenue. And we have, Sherry and I have stuck with that. And it's worked for us in our life in ways I'll never forget. When we ended up in California and both of us looking there at each other with big eyes, going, I never knew we'd end up in California. That wasn't even in my wildest dreams. No. There in the projects in Peoria, Illinois, you up there in Victory Homes in Rockford, Illinois, that wasn't even so much a dream. Mm-mm. And yet here we were living it. I had a person I was talking to the other day. I can't remember exactly who it was. And they were asking me about No, it was that I went to a Scarlet's practice and I was talking to a man and he was talking, he had read my book.
PJ.
Huh?
PJ, I think.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Anyhow, so he goes, you know, I didn't know that you were a preacher. And I said, yeah. And he goes, why did you give it up? I said, well, to a lot of folks, I gave it up 35 years ago when I went to California. But that's not what happened. I said, our ministry continued. And he said, were preachers upset? And I said, yeah, they were upset. They so much so, they blacklisted us. And Sherry and I realized, except for just a small handful of people, and most of them were our family, were upset that Sherry and I was managing, you know, and they just bring up Sam. We managed other people other than Sam that were very successful. And these preachers were upset about that, not knowing that God was using us there in Hollywood.
They were more jealous.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what it was. And didn't faze us. Didn't faze us, doesn't faze us today. It's not preachers I love, it's you I love.
And thank God we moved. Look at all the friends we made. Look at all the things we got to do.
Oh, we probably got 4 or 5 friends now. No, you're right, Sherry. God ordained our steps.
Yes.
The steps of a righteous man is ordained of God. He ordained. I just thank God that you and I both knew his voice clear enough that we never hesitated. We have never hesitated in all what we felt God wanted us to do. And that'll work for you. All right, I got to go. Sherry, I love them. You love them. God loves them. God bless America, and please pray for America.
Yes.
And I want you to know now, I haven't given up on Israel. I can't believe the world, how they have treated Israel. God bless Israel, and we stand with Israel. I'll see you next week.